You may notice that I've been trying to reason with people that argue that World Trade Center 7 did not collapse because of fires. And they tout this guy from Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, Richard Gage, the guy that founded that organization. And I try to explain that Gage claims it was negative pressure and that World Trade Center 7 only appeared to have a lot of smoke pouring out of it. Don't tell me I'm lying about what Richard Gage says. Look at this video for yourself and you can see.
He says the smoke on the south side may not be from Tower 7 at all.
This is indicative of a negative pressure which drew the smoke from the World Trade Center 6 or 5 that was burning quite severely. And there's no visible flames in any of that smoke. So it appears to not be coming from World Trade Center 7.
It was from number 7. The smoke was coming out of the building, not going from the opposite direction. That's insane. The opposite direction, that's insane.
And there's no visible flames in any of that smoke. On 9/11, these two small fires on one side of Building 7 are responsible for bringing this building down.
Richard Gage, what you are saying makes no sense, because the firemen were expecting World Trade Center 7 to collapse. The fires were big. It's the very reason the fire department called Silverstein in the first place.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire.
Firemen don't contact building owners to tell them they don't know if they can control the fires if the fires are small and not a problem. If you're wondering why World Trade Center 7 isn't mentioned in the 9/11 report, it's because it wasn't a target. The St. Nicholas Church wasn't mentioned either because it wasn't a target. And speaking of targets, here's the staff statement as they did research into why these targets were selected. This was left out of the 9/11 report. And we know why. The two top commissioners wrote a book after the 9/11 report. And if you're wondering what was left out of the 9/11 report, they intentionally suppressed the main motive for why we were attacked. That was not the job of the 9/11 Commission to decide what the American people get to reassess. That's what makes this so agonizingly frustrating, to have this 9/11 truth movement. It coincides with this agenda of suppressing why we were attacked. And truth be told, that's why the 9/11 truth movement has the traction it does, because it was allowed to and given strength by people that don't want us to know why we were attacked. And you can see, as they were putting the 9/11 report together, the information about U.S. support for Israel being left out of the 9/11 report. It did get mentioned on page 147 of the report, as my friend James points out in this very important video.
On page 147, it is stated that the plotter of 9/11, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, was driven to attack us because of U.S. support for Israel. Why aren't we addressing that, sir?
All right, sir.
But for the most part, it was downplayed or omitted from the report. It was downplayed to such a degree that Lee Hamilton didn't even realize the Israel-Palestinian dispute made it into the 9/11 report at all. And that's what my friend James was correcting him on. And you can see where it would exist in the staff statement, but then it gets omitted and actually drained of information, because the original was more informative to tell you why each target was selected. Mohammed Atta was chosen as the leader of the mission. He met with bin Laden to discuss the targets: the World Trade Center, which represented the U.S. economy, the Pentagon, a symbol of U.S. military, and the most important thing is because it's the main motive, the U.S. Capitol, because of U.S. policy supporting Israel. They know they can get away with it because the powers that be, the media elite of this country, are so sick-minded that they're willing to lie to the American people about why we were attacked.